It can be anything, but definitely not an internal conflict.
Ukrainians are celebrating Vyshyvanka Day,
A day of the European values that Ukraine does share.
You will not see the next episode of Kyiv, not Kiev next Thursday. But don't worry.
Hello world, it's Kyiv, not Kiev, your source for the political and economic news, for the insights and for the analysis of all the important events from Ukraine.
We're very pleased you joined us today to learn more about what happened in Ukraine during the past week. From us, Ukrainians.
My name is Polina. Somewhere there is my fellow Tetiana
and we're getting down to news and analysis.
But don't be shy to like this video in advance. I bet that you won't regret.
A piece of hardly breaking news. The so-called Donbas representatives in the peace talks appear to be not the Donbas representatives, but Russian nationals. As a proof, the Ukrainian party made public a Russian passport of the so-called foreign minister of Luhansk People's Republic.
Tanya, don't you think that our foreign audience needs kind of explanation before we getting down into this news?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm always forgetting. Sure, let's do it together. So check it out. Fact number one, the ongoing war in the east of Ukraine is underway.
Fact number two, it is Russia that following the Crimea annexation took over a part of Donetsk and Luhansk regions. That is actually a region called Donbas in the east.
Fact number three, in the captured territories, Russia set up proxy states, the so-called DNR and LNR, Donetsk and Luhansk People's Republics.
And fact number four, there is also a peaceful settlement procedure, actually several formats of it. The Normandy format operating and the trilateral contact group in Minsk, which includes representatives of Russia, Ukraine, and of temporarily occupied territories on the right of the invited parties. The talks are moderated by the OSCE representatives.
2 weeks ago, the trilateral contact group representation was significantly enhanced. In this way, the representatives of Ukraine in all sub-working groups came to be deputy ministers of the chairman of parliamentary committees. Alexei Reznikov, deputy prime minister, became the first deputy chairman of the delegation. And unlike the chairman, ex-president Leonid Kuchma, Reznikov is a real Ukrainian policymaker, enjoying all the powers to implement decisions. The TCG representation level enhancement is supposed to demonstrate to the Western partners the seriousness of Kyiv as for the negotiation process and reintegration of territories occupied by Russia.
What is more, Ukraine suggested introducing the IDPs, means internally displaced persons living within the reach of the governmental control, in the capacity of an invited party for them to represent the Donbas interests. The move comes down to the fact that the role of the invited has currently been usurped by the pseudo-officials from occupation administrations, who are actually pushing the Russian position in Minsk. But obviously Russia is not okay with the formula and steadily keeps denying itself to be a part of the conflict and is seeking a direct dialogue between Ukraine and the pseudo-republics.
Yes, but the last week developments changing everything. Because during the online TCG session on May 14th, the Ukrainians pointed out to Russians in the OSCE presence that the invited from the Donbas are nationals of Russian Federation. And to back up the point, we demonstrated a copy of the Russian internal and foreign passports of Vladislav Dainego, the LNR foreign minister.
So what does it mean for the future peaceful settlement? Number one, the point of Russia that we are not there, and Ukraine is dealing with the internal conflict holds up no longer. When Donbas is represented in the talks by Russian nationals, it can be anything, but definitely not an internal conflict.
And the point number two, to save its face with the OSCE, Russia will now have to replace the Donbas representatives. But you know what? You know what's ironical? A Donbas representatives - collaborators loyal to them all have Russian passports. So who are they to be replaced by?
Against the backdrop of the revealing news, the Ukrainian idea to invite to the TCG Gini and Donbas representatives that are IDPs who are forced to leave their homes because of Russia looks really realistic. So we're gonna keep following the peace process development, since the Ukrainians' quest for peace and for justice has never been any stronger. Stay tuned. And now it's high time revealing a secret of today's episode. Why are both of us wearing these beautiful shorts that are actually called Vyshyvanki or folk embroideries?
The thing is that every year on the third Thursday of May, Ukrainians are celebrating Vyshyvanka Day. Having been started as a flash mob, not attached to any public holiday, the Vyshyvanka Day turned into a global cultural diplomatic opportunity for the Ukrainian communities around the world and a national statement inside the country.
Why? Because on this day, Ukrainians are united regardless of their political opinions, which is quite difficult to imagine. And we wear Vyshyvanki to demonstrate adherence to the idea of national identity. And every year, the scale of the holiday is increasing with more and more people joining the flash mob.
Usually, now, not in today's circumstances, the Vyshyvanka Day is also accompanied with concerts, cultural events, Cossack marches around the country. For instance, my alma mater, Chernihiv National University, is breaking records in the world's biggest Vyshyvanka.
We are not that creative in the Institute of International Relations. We're just wearing the one. But it's important to stress that today, Vyshyvanka has become a very trendy and a very fitting part of our casual, smart casual, and even cocktail dress code. You can wear Vyshyvanki with everything, with jeans, with high heels, and you'll look good.
Absolutely. Top world fashion houses are looking for inspiration in the national embroideries of Ukraine. And Ukraine can boast with our own fashion designers. Tetiana, for instance. Her Vyshyvankas are quite popular among celebrities in the West. Check out Catherine Zeta-Jones wearing the one.
And also other celebrities like Demi Moore, Dita Fontees, Alicia Vikander, Sandra Bullock, Lana Del Rey, Salma Hayek, Anne Hathaway, Nicole Kidman, and many more others. So, by the way, you can check out our brand video about Ukrainian designers and world celebrities who are wearing their items on the red carpet and at home. But coming back to the topic of Vyshyvanka, I do consider them to be a part of our history and art. But how come they are so expensive as for the Ukrainian market?
They are, but embroidery, if it's the quality one, is always handmade. And it's also the art of a special vision of the world. Did you know that each region of Ukraine, in the process of historical and cultural developments, formed its own local identity with specific motifs and compositions, colors and techniques?
Yeah, I've heard about that, but I'm actually not into the topic. The only thing I know is that the Kharkiv region, Slobozhanщина, is wearing the Vyshyvankas that are not necessarily white. It can be multicolored, and the thread they use is very thick. So that creates additional relief, and the ornament is showing like flowers, grapes, and the stuff.
And in Khmelnytsky region, where I was born, we have strict geometrical forms like rhombus. But by the way, the often color was black, which was sometimes combined with red and cherry. So like the one I'm wearing now.
And why are you wearing the white one then? So, dear audience, if you have Vyshyvanka in your wardrobe, take it off, make a picture, and don't be shy to post it in the comments below. And if you do not have Vyshyvanka, we sincerely advise you to buy the one. You won't regret, that's for sure.
The European Parliament improved the provision of microfinancial assistance to Ukraine for 1.2 billion euro. The first tranche is to be done as soon as possible without any preconditions required, and the second one is to be allocated until July 2021, following some consultations.
Citing Dmytro Kuleba, Minister for Foreign Affairs, grateful for this act of true friendship, not just partnership.
Last weekend, on May 16, Ukraine celebrated Europe Day, which is an amazing holiday for our country, since Ukraine is the only state in the world that, not being a member of the European Union, celebrates unity with the European Union countries annually. The holiday is accompanied with pretty large celebrations, covered in mass media and in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs platform. But in today's circumstances, the day was marked online only.
I love the idea of the day. That's like the symbol of the unity of Ukraine with the EU, a day of the European values that Ukraine does share. That's pretty cool.
So, as usual, we've prepared something very special for you.
This time, playing the Who game with our very special guests from the US and from the UK. Diane, by the way, did you know that Zelensky hired more than 30 persons from his entertainment company Studio Kvartal 95 in the parliament for the year?
Yeah, I know. Let's check, do they know?
The Ukrainians were so warm and so loving. The people in Belozersk brought me grocery bags full of food, and they invited me to their home every night and fed me until I couldn't eat anymore. Sense of community and love.
I gotta say, the people were so incredibly hospitable and generous and very maternal, very caretaking, always wanting to feed you and take care of you. And really the level of English was incredible, as you attest to yourself.
When I think last year I went to Toronto in Canada, and as much as it's a beautiful, clean, well-developed city, it doesn't quite have the same soul that I think Kiev has. So there's that kind of element to it, which is really interesting.
But I read this paper about how education in Ukraine not only kept the Ukrainian language, Ukrainian culture, Ukrainian cuisine, the Ukrainian history alive, it helped to inspire the strength of the people, so that when it came time, Ukraine was one of the first to throw off the yoke of the Soviet Union and take charge of their country.
I'm tempted to go with Mother of Dragons, but the servant of the people.
I want to say servant of the people.
Yes, servant of the people.
Yeah.
Well, this guy's obviously, I think a sports personality. Basketball? No?
Looks like he might be a basketball player.
No, this is a great Olympic athlete, an MP.
I want to say it's very possible he's a member of the Rada, yeah?
Something to do with weddings? I'm going to say that he's not a politician.
I'm going to guess he's an MP, but he also looks like he could be a reality TV star, like very similar to The Bachelor.
Yes, an MP and also a Ukrainian rock star.
Well, he does beautiful pictures, and I would definitely hire him as my wedding photographer.
Okay, so I'm guessing a comedian, but is he in politics? Okay, let's say yes.
He's a TV star or a comedian maybe, but also an MP.
Go with the trend here, an MP and a stand-up comedian.
Okay, I don't know this person, unless it's Jim Carrey, but I don't think it is.
A crooner, a famous singer.
Does he work in fashion?
Looks too alive to be just your average everyday model. So I'm gonna guess he's a singer and also an MP.
So I'm guessing he's also in politics. So a judge? Maybe a singing judge or dancing judge?
She might have something to do with Eurovision, but she's definitely involved in business. And probably also an MP.
Now, because she looks like an MP, maybe she was ousted because she's not an entertainer, so no MP.
Yeah, so this was the song about Crimea. Is she a sports personality?
Yes, MP, hip hop star.
Another singer?
Might be a singer as well. And I'm not going to assume she's not an MP just because she's young. What's her name? I want to listen to some of her stuff.
Біля мене сотні невідомих облич, біля мене світло, хоча зараз ніч, біля мене біт, знаєш, це моя річ.
Definitely an MP. There's that Ukrainian rock star I was looking for. Right?
Gonna guess he's a rock star. Pose, not an MP.
Maybe, well, he looks experienced. Maybe he's changed his career and gone into politics.
He has one of those incredibly wonderfully neutral faces. So it's very difficult to tell what his occupation is without being, stereotypical. Perhaps he might be a professor as well as an MP. He might be a businessman as well as an MP. He might just be an MP. I mean, that's a possibility as well. That's enough, I would assume.
Is this a boxer or was a boxer?
MP. Is this the boxer, famous fighter?
And he's involved in politics, I believe.
Okay, he's definitely an MP, and he looks like a club bouncer or a DJ, something like this.
Comedian? Yeah, I'll say yes, he's an MP.
He is a comedian or talk show host, possibly also an MP based on what I've seen so far.
Talented cabinet there.
Tennis or badminton player?
Not an MP. She's your tennis star. I know her. The name is escaping me.
She's probably a tennis player and also possibly an MP.
If you'd shown me a picture of Lilia Podkopaiva, I'd have known instantly who she was because I've met her twice.
When will you be running as an MP?
The next.
Good.
Next time.
Kyiv.
Kyiv. Kyiv, not Kiev.
Kyiv.
Great job.
Thank you for watching us today, but before we say goodbye, we'd like to make an announcement.
You will not see the next episode of Kyiv, not Kiev next Thursday. But don't worry.
Instead, we will be preparing something fresh, new, special, and surprising for you. We're gonna think of the new formats of the blog, but that does not mean that we will not be on the line. We'll keep informing you about the most important news from Ukraine in our Facebook account during this short break.
Yeah, so this is the high time when we badly need your advice and recommendations. What would you like to see in the new episodes? More investigations, insight, or analysis? More guests, more fun, or entertainment? Don't hesitate to write it down in the comments below.
So stay safe, stay kind, and stay looking forward for the next episodes of Kyiv, not Kyiv.
Yeah, hope to go back to normal and see you next time in the cozy studio, not in our apartments. These were Polina Boychuk and Tetiana Haiduk.
This was Kyiv, not Kyiv. Remember that?
Yeah, and traditional from Ukraine with love.